learn today.
Believe in yourself.
Bounce. Oh wait, bounce
Hit
back
bottom.
up. Hit
To
bottom.
start over.
Hit your bottom.
Well, you got, no, not hit your bottom.
What are we talking about?
Daily Logic Check.
Welcome to Daily Logic Check. I'm Elizabeth Lynn Vargas, your host, with my co-host, Andrew Vargas, and the founder of Yard House, Steele Platt. Thanks for being here, Steele.
Happy to be here.
We are excited about this segment because this segment is going to educate everyone on the fundamentals and the excitement of becoming an entrepreneur, why you should or should not become an entrepreneur. And Steele Platt is one of my favorite entrepreneurs. He's got great personality. He's really come from nothing, created something. He's retired now, but he's really made a name for himself and a lifestyle that all of us can respect and love. Steele, thank you for being here.
Hey, happy to be here.
So, Steele, Andrew and I, well, I'm an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs. I have 97% women who follow my podcast, but there's a lot of entrepreneurs that in today's environment are really nervous about starting something. Should we or should we not? And, today it's so difficult. We have post-COVID environment. We have elections coming up. We have all this stuff going on. Should I or should I not? And what I found is that people have really used their environment as an excuse to not do anything. But my take on it is if you're truly an entrepreneur, you just do it anyway, right?
Totally. Like entrepreneurs succeed with headwinds. Mm-hmm. So we have headwinds now, and any true entrepreneur would not see that as a reason not to try out their ideas.
You founded Yard House, which is a significant restaurant in the States. And I mean, what was going through your mind when you thought, I'm going to sell beer to make money?
Well, what was going through the mind at the time was I had to make money because I was broke. So
how old were you?
35 when I wrote the business plan. Yeah.
Wow. See, so it wasn't like you started when you were really young.
Well, I owned restaurants in Denver. I owned about 6 or 7 restaurants in Denver in the 80s.
Okay.
And then I had the biggest nightclub in Denver in 1989, which was like 25,000 square feet.
Wow.
Huge. And I was retired when I was 30, and I was broke at 32. So
you, wait a minute, I didn't even know this. So back in the day, well, how did you get your start?
My father passed away when I was 24, left me a couple $100,000, and I risked it all and opened my first restaurant when I was 24 in Denver called Kai Lua's, which was my hometown in Hawaii.
So you started, he gave you the money, you got that going until you were 30.
Well, he didn't give me the money.
Well, you inherited the money, and then by 32 you'd tried it and then lost it all and were starting
I was 24, so I opened Kai Lua's, which was a stir-fry restaurant. It was like before P.F. Chang's. So I had all stir fries, a juice bar, sushi bar. This is 1985. And then I opened a beer place 2 years later called the Boiler Room, which had 20 draft beers, which was the most people had back then. That's really the mother of the Yard House. So that was 1987. And then 1988, 89, I built a 2-story, 20,000 square foot nightclub called Effects, EFEX.
Wow.
And that was open for 2 years, and then it got shut down because it was too loud.
Well, let's back up a little bit.
And that's when I lost everything and moved to California.
Let's back up a little bit. So I kind of wanted to have my audience understand the thought process, the logical thought process of wanting to start a restaurant in the first place. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the toughest businesses to get into, right? So they start and they fail as quickly as they start. Why a restaurant? Were you in the restaurant industry?
So at 16, I knew I wanted to own a restaurant.
Okay.
So I grew up in Hawaii. My mother stopped cooking for me and my dad when I was about 16.
Oh.
So I started cooking for everybody because she didn't do any more laundry or cooking.
Oh, okay.
And then my brother went to Cornell Hotel Restaurant School. So that inspired me to go to University of Denver Hotel Restaurant School. And while I was there, I worked in at least a dozen restaurants and knew I wanted to open a bar and a restaurant. And I waited tables.
So you did wait tables dealing with people?
Yeah, I just waited tables. I did the line cook, dishwasher, busboy, host, all those things.
The dirty jobs.
But my favorite job was waiter, so you really feel the pulse of the operation. So I knew I wanted to do it. So at the time, I was waiting tables when my father passed away, and he left me like $200,000-300,000. And I said, I'm going to open my own place.
That's
And
great.
It started as an idea of basically what a Panda Express would be.
Right.
So it was all little stir fries. And it eventually just expanded with my creativity into a 6,000 square foot restaurant with a bar, sushi bar,
Wow.
8 walks, and an island theme. I did, it was really cool. I did theatrical lighting, uplighting with $60,000 worth of silk plants in the ceiling.
Did you
So I
have
made it like
investors, or
Hawaii.
was it just?
The landlord.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm 24, waiter, come in, and they ended up giving me $2.5 million.
Wow.
okay. Let's back up a little bit again.
That's in 1984.
This is a great story.
That was
So
in
in 84?
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait, I know that you were, you still are very handsome, but you were also very model-esque back in the day. So were you very charming to get the money, or did you just have a plan that was solid?
Well, 2 things. I think it was a great idea. So
Yeah.
it's like in the middle of Denver, downtown, you'd walk in and you're in Hawaii, like tropical
you had a vision that they loved.
plants. I had bird sound tracks in the background.
Oh, wow.
I played reggae. This is all when you had cassettes. So I had
Yeah.
2 cassette players on an overlay.
That's a badass.
And then I had theatrical lighting, and then we did all of my favorite foods from Hawaii. Kailua was my hometown
Yeah.
in Hawaii.
So you
And
brought
then
that
they just
theme
loved
in.
the idea, but it was also a hungry landlord where nobody was coming in. This is when everybody was leaving Denver and
Okay.
downtown Denver in 1984. So I walked in as a waiter, and I said, yeah, my dad died. I have $300 grand. I'll risk it all. I'll sign anything you want,
Wow.
because that's all I had to lose.
Yeah.
And I figured I might as well do it because he wouldn't get mad at me, my dad, because he was dead.
And you knew you could pick yourself back up. So
Yeah, so that's the
You know.
first step in an entrepreneur. You're able to take a risk. So I took a risk.
You believed
where
in
it's
yourself.
not my money.
right.
And I said, this is like, this is an opportunity. A door opens. When else am I going to get $200-300 grand, right?
Right.
So that was enough to at least like
Start
risk
your
money
dream.
for a landlord. And then after that, it's just smooth talking.
Yeah.
That's what
But
I'm
you
good
love
at.
dealing with people, which is really cool. So part of being an entrepreneur is you have to sell yourself.
I did.
You know.
And it started as a 3-page business plan before my father died. And then it ended up in a full business plan for Kailua's, explaining the music and the trees and the stir fries and the fresh
Wow,
Hawaiian
that
fish.
is so
and,
cool.
And the sushi bar and the island drinks.
Sake
and all those
flowing.
things. Yeah. And my favorite thing was, I think we had Thursday night, beach chair night. We took all the tables and chairs out, put beach chairs in.
Oh, that is so cool.
And everybody came in with aloha shirts.
Did
In
you have the
middle of
band or
winter.
the- what do you
Yeah,
call-
I had a stage with the band
That is so cool.
when I wanted it to be, and it was fun. But that was my first place.
And so, once you started, Andrew and I have been in the service industry our whole lives, and I love
Yeah.
being a waitress. That was one of my favorite jobs.
It's my favorite job.
It is.
I
You don't mind
think
if
that,
I have a sip of beer, do you?
No, please drink. You built your life off beer. Please drink. I would give you some vodka, but I know your beer money.
What kind of vodka is that?
Vargas vodka.
There you go.
Anyway, but I know that being in the, and I always say that if you're going to become an entrepreneur, I think most kids these days should at least once in their life work at a restaurant as a waitress or deal
Absolutely.
with customer service
Or watch The Bear.
or that too. Yeah.
I mean, I watched that. My anxiety, it just all came back.
The Bear?
The Bear.
Yeah,
Oh,
I just started watching that. That's
I mean, that's
intense.
realistic. It's
yeah,
really
I
realistic.
never worked in the
I've never
kitchen.
seen it. What is it?
I never worked in the
It's
kitchen.
about opening restaurants.
Oh, I've
Or
never
a
seen it.
restaurant.
It
yeah.
just came out. They just got it
On Netflix?
Yeah,
Well, there's 2 seasons,
Hulu.
and they won best.
Oh, Hulu.
They won Golden Globes on it.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I
I'm gonna
watched it
watch
because I
it.
saw that. I watched it because
But if you worked in the restaurant industry, you feel it all again.
The stress.
Especially if you're the owner, the stress, what goes wrong, how hard it is to open one. So yeah, to answer your question, working in the restaurant business is probably the most complex business there is.
Absolutely.
Because you're dealing with 100 different things.
And personalities, 100 different personalities.
so that TV show gave you anxiety because you remember those days.
I'm looking at it like going, oh my God, I haven't felt like this for 40 years. So.
So if somebody,
sweating, you're
so if somebody wanted to open their own restaurant, watch that show and it gives you an idea of what your life's going to be.
Yeah, there's high highs in the restaurant business and there's low lows, very low lows, where you just want to crawl in the basement and hide, which I had a basement in Denver at the time and I did.
So that's when you lost how did you lose it all again?
So I did Kailua's and then I did a place called the Boiler Room like a couple years after that in the same mall. This is all in Tivoli downtown. So
Right.
I had a very wealthy landlord big corporation that had big pockets.
Right.
And so now I did, after Kylo's, I did the boiler room, which was in the old boiler room of the Tivoli, which was a beer
Okay.
brewery from the 1800s.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So I did 20 drafts, 80 bottles, classic rock and roll, peanuts on the floor, and just fun food. And then from there, I did the biggest nightclub in Denver, which was no food,
Right.
just all bar.
Strip bar? No, just kidding.
four,
No food. I don't know. Chicken wings, maybe?
well, I wouldn't have lost my business back then if that was it. But 4 bars, 2 stories, and we played, it was right at the height of the 80s, all the Paul Abdul and Thompson Twins. And all
So
that.
And you lost your money there?
But what brought it? Yeah, what made you lose
No,
the
I
money?
made a lot of money there, but
Oh.
the sound system was like $1 million sound system, 50,000 watts, and I had Morton's of Chicago underneath me, and we were just too loud. So they had right to quiet enjoyment. I was the young kid on the block.
Oh, they shut you down.
Yeah, I got
So
shut
you were
down
making
'cause
money,
I was
but you
too
just got shut
loud,
down.
And my doorman got in a fight. It was all over the news, but I survived it. And then because of the noise, the landlord said, "We got to shut you down because we want to keep Morton's at Chicago here."
Right, of
And
course.
you're just Steele Platt, so
Right.
you're nobody yet. So.
Right.
And so I said, well, if you shut me down, then I'm moving to California.
So when you were at that low, most people would just be like, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm out. Like, this is too much. But you obviously moved to California, and then what? You just decided,
No, I did that. I said, fuck it.
oh, fuck it, and moved to California.
Yeah, this
Oh.
was my low. I got in my brand new $2,400 a month leased Mercedes and drove to California.
You were like, shit, what
And
do
this
I do
was-
now?
and-
I had $100,000 in cash in my briefcase and a 9mm.
Oh, nice. Okay. So,
And I landed at Promontory Point,
well, that is,
1991.
that's how you can make it these days. Orange County, California is 9mm, 100,000 in cash, and a leased car.
Well, I had a briefcase is cash. So,
So then you came to California, you were like, yeah, I want to do
Well,
Yard House? Or
I
like,
thought
what?
I could do another nightclub, but nothing happened. And
You just relaxed for a little while, or did you get right back into
6
it?
months. I paid 6 months cash in rent ahead of time because I had to.
Smart.
I just tried to lay low
Right.
because I didn't. I was young. I didn't know if they were going to come after me for all the,
So-
obligations, which there
yeah.
weren't really any. I paid all the bills pretty much.
So what about while the nightclub was, they shut that down, did you sell the other restaurants?
No, I lost everything.
Oh, so they just took it all from you?
No, I just flipped the switch off and left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Restaurant was still making money?
Well, I sold the boiler room. Kailu's is still open. I had the nightclub got shut down. I had a diner attached to the nightclub, which was the food aspect of the liquor license.
Wow.
But yeah, they said you shut down. It was New Year's Day, 1991. So New Year's Eve, 1990 was the last night we were open. It was a big party.
That must have been a big ass party.
I was throwing glasses
You're
against
like,
the
beer,
wall.
beer, fuck you.
Free drinks for everybody. Let's use the liquor up.
Yeah, no,
Wow,
absolutely.
that was a good night.
It was a fun night.
So
But it was
Hawaii-
sad. And the next day, I literally just drove out of town, drove south.
How'd you pick California? Just you
I've been here before. I've been in
Okay.
Newport, so I knew what it was like.
Hawaii to Newport? Yeah. so
Yeah, it's
you're-
kind of the go-between between Denver and Hawaii.
You seem kind of like you look Newport. I saw some modeling pictures, the long hair, the jeans, sitting up against your car. So you kind of had that
That was in
California
college.
look.
That was during college. So.
Yeah, but either way.
So anyway, came out here and just said, all right, let's open another nightclub, and it didn't happen. And I got an opportunity to go up in Seattle and open up a.
Oh, you went to Seattle?
I had an investor,
Okay.
so I went to Seattle, and I lived in Bellevue, and
Wait, you lived in Bellevue, Washington? Mm-hmm. I didn't know this.
Back in the 90s?
Back in our hometown.
1992.
Wow. And so wait, you keep saying investors and people and giving you money.
I don't have any money. I'm broke.
No, back in the day. No, back in the day. Like you said that this bar owner, this building owner, lease owner gave helped you with that
Landlord, yeah.
landlord. Now you have another investor. You go to Seattle. How are you getting
Well, I
these
had
investors?
a friend from all the bars I had in Denver said, I'll invest with you.
Okay, so you have a track record. So you've proven yourself, even though you had a hard time.
I didn't know I was leaving, so I had to leave.
Okay, yeah.
So then I'm here, and I said, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And then I had a couple of people, what are you going to do?
Right.
And I said, well, I'll open and the guy said, well, I'm going to Seattle, whatever it was. And I
Okay.
said, well, I'll go to Seattle if you want to open a bar. He goes, all right. So I went up there to open a boiler room.
Okay.
But he backed out and ended up owning or investing in a sushi bar in Aspen instead.
Oh. So then you
So
came
he
back.
left me in Seattle hanging,
Oh my gosh.
So I started selling cars in, where was that?
Renton?
Inland?
Linwood?
No, inland from Bellevue.
The Inland Empire?
Oh, in Snoqualmie? Snoqualmie?
No, it's on the same highway.
91? What is
Renton?
that? Renton?
No, I was selling Fords.
Anyway, whatever.
Issaquah.
Yeah.
Issaquah, there we go.
Yeah.
So I was Ford Issaquah. I was selling cars
Really? No kidding. I can't
for
imagine.
like 3 months, and I said the weather sucked, and I came back to California in '92.
And that was after your 6-month lease was over, so you used the full 6 months, and then you moved
I did
up
the
there.
6 months, went to Seattle.
And came back.
I signed a lease in a big house in Bellevue. Ran out of money.
Excuse me.
Ran out of money, and then selling cars, and then I didn't like selling cars, so I got.
You don't seem like the car kind of stuff. You're like, buy this fucking shit or just don't.
I was the number one salesman while I was there.
Oh, you were?
So first day I like made $5,000.
Oh, that's why you have so many cars right now. Is that you love your cars? I love cars too. So.
So I just got a rent, and I just came back, moved into Costa Mesa, and that's where I just moved in with a buddy, $300 a month, rented a room, and
Costa Mesa.
ran out of money, and then started bartending in Huntington Beach in 1993.
So you got back into the restaurant after you've already owned nightclubs, owned a restaurant, went up to Seattle.
Yeah,
now you're back bartending.
I interviewed for managers, and they're like, nobody hired me because you owned all these restaurants. We're not going to hire you.
Yeah, you're
And I'm
overqualified.
like, all right. So I said, screw it. I'll lie on the application. Said I worked in all the restaurants, and I'll bartend. And that's how I did it.
Yeah.
So I bartended.
So you dumbed down yourself to get the job.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bartended Denim and Diamonds in Huntington Beach
Wow, that's
for 2 years. And
Really?
that's when I wrote the business plan for Yard House. Yep.
So you're still, after all of these successes, and I mean, some would call them failures, but I really call them, lessons.
Mm-hmm.
You decided still, after all of this, you were going to open Yard House.
That's the only thing I knew how to do is to create a restaurant.
So who did you meet somebody? Did you pitch it to somebody?
No,
or
I was
how
just bartending, and then a couple of my buddies said you should really get back into it instead of being a bartender.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right. So I started writing a business plan. Like this time, I wanted to do the world's largest selection of draft beer. That was
Yard House.
That was going to be your hook?
Yeah. So I wrote the business plan, and then I had to sell it. So I got a real estate agent who took me to Shoreline Village, met the landlord, and long story short, they gave me $4 million.
Wait, where was the first Yard House?
Long Beach,
Long Beach.
1996.
And that's where they gave you the money to build?
Well, they started with 400,000, and they ended up giving me $3 or $4 million.
So the moral of the story, Andrew, is you have to be good at raising money.
Yes. Capital. What is
Or
that?
walk in the shallow end with a slow walk towards the deep end, holding the landlord's hand.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
So you got another landlord to invest in you?
Well, I mean, so
This is interesting because I didn't.
So the original deal was 400,000, which I thought was a lot for the space.
The
but
build out.
The space turned out to be really just in bad shape. And a long story short, again, because I don't want to go into details, it took like $4 million
What?
To bring it up
to
to
do code, because all the plumbing was gone, all
Right.
the
Did
HVAC
you have
was
termites?
gone.
California's
Termites
notorious.
was on the water. It's right on the
Oh
water.
yeah.
And then I raised about 300,000 from local investors.
Yeah.
And barely opened it on a shoestring. I mean, I had them deliver $200,000 worth of equipment without paying them. I said I was going to pay them once they was installed, and then he said we need a check, and I said, how about a payment plan?
Hold on a minute.
How about
But
I
I
give
knew
you
once it's equipment's in there, it becomes a fixture. So
Right.
they can't take it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
smart. So did you have lawyers at the time? Were you just doing this on your own, or how did you get
A couple
the?
minimum lawyers, but it was a shoestring budget.
Okay.
I was paying myself $500 a week.
How did you? When did you open this? What year was it?
December 7th, 1996.
Okay, you know your dates.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's a day of
When did we
infamy.
meet? Just kidding.
For Harbor Day.
We met like 20 years ago.
Yeah, so that was the first one, and I had
And
About
how was opening
25
day? Was it
investors.
just, were you relieved or were you just stressed? What was it like?
well, the whole process to open was stress. And I also opened a diner right next to it before the Yard House called Oink's Diner, which was a 1940s farmhouse diner with pigs and all that kind of stuff. That was
This is hilarious.
that's what the landlord wanted.
Oh, got it.
So they
got
wanted a
it.
family restaurant, and so when that didn't work, I knew it wasn't going to work. That's when I opened Tequila Jack's. So
Before the Yard House.
yeah, and that had Oink's open, and then Yard House opened.
Okay, Yard
And
House.
everybody thought Oink's was going to be the big deal.
But it did. So then you opened Tequila Jack's where Oinks was.
Well, Yard House opened, was doing well.
Yeah.
First year only did 3 million, which is good, but not that good. And Oinks was just flat.
How is 3 million not that good, Andrew?
Because it's a multi-million-dollar
Well,
investment.
it's 18, 20 million now a year. So
Yeah.
same story.
18 to 20 million a year.
For that same, because is it still there?
Yeah, it's still there.
So how many yard houses before? And you sold Yard House, or you sold
Twice.
Twice.
I sold half, then I sold the whole thing.
And how many yard houses are there in America now?
90.
90.
Yeah. I
Congratulations.
sold with 50.
Andrew, did you
So
get a gift
they've
certificate?
expanded to
Well,
what?
50 to 90 is an expansion.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, did you? I've never gotten any free beer
I
from
shouldn't
Steele.
have done that shot at Jack Daniels. I'm sorry.
No, nobody gives me anything free.
No, so there was
I'm not pretty enough.
So there's like 42 open, and then 8 signed leases when we sold to Darden. No, to Darden. But before that, I had 16, and I sold half to a private equity company in 2007. And then they usually hang on. Private equity is usually for 5 years, which they were, and then we sold the whole thing to Darden.
What was your college major?
Hotel restaurant management.
Okay, so you were able to go
Never
to college.
managed a restaurant in my life.
You just went and just
Waiter to owner.
That's amazing.
Well, you have to be a business person to own a restaurant.
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
manager,
It is
so.
two different fields.
Well,
Managing is
manager
not owning.
manages, but restaurant owners are different than.
It's a completely different field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So you can hire good managers. I'm not a good restaurant manager.
No,
I don't have the patience.
I was a restaurant manager. That was a tough job. I was hated, but I did the best I could. The owner loved me. I got the job done, but it was I loved being a waitress. I did not like managing other people. I did not like dealing with people's schedules. I did not like any of it.
That's a tough job.
It is
Very
a
tough.
tough job.
It
Yeah.
did, I had to do that, but I didn't mind the management part. I just didn't like having to be there all the time to do it.
I
It's
just want.
long hours.
Long hours,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thankless job, pretty much.
So you end up, it's interesting because your story of success is one of obvious longevity in endurance and perseverance with your mind. I mean, that's a mental challenge to be able to continuously say, I'm going to keep doing it because, you had some passings in the family, your mother stopped feeding you. The little things along the way really created that mindset where you fetched for yourself, right?
Well, being an entrepreneur is really seizing opportunity.
Right.
You got to look for the door to open. So
Yeah.
And it's a glass half full, right?
Yeah, and if you get knocked down, you get back up. It's getting back up.
Sometimes, but that was the hardest. I mean, the way I looked at it, I had to hit bottom first, and the only way to come back is to bounce off the bottom.
Yeah.
Where you bounce off the bottom's pretty
You
good.
have to bounce off the bottom. You can't come back halfway down.
In retirement,
I'm
Steele, I
saying?
think you
Yes.
bounced pretty good.
Well, listen to what I'm saying. You can't come down halfway.
Yeah.
You got to hit bottom.
You got to
Yeah.
hit bottom. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the only thing that's going to remotivate you and say,
Yeah.
I'm at the bottom.
And
Like
so-
I
so
told
when
you
you-
earlier, I had almost garbage bags over me.
Yeah.
So when
out
you
on the
when you
side
left
of it.
Denver, that was your bottom?
listen,
No, here was the bottom.
Really?
Yeah, bottom was.
You said
when
you almost lived in homeless.
Bottom was when I had no more money. I was behind in rent in a bedroom, $300 a month. I had zero money, and I was 3 months back date on rent.
Wow.
Happened to be my friend, and that's when I said, I'm just going to bartend.
Yeah, you have to make some money.
Yeah. So the bottom was bottom,
Resourceful.
and then the first thing back up was bartend. So,
Just to get yourself off the ground.
well, just to get some money in the bank,
Yeah.
because I had zero money.
But never did it cross your mind like, I'm just going to be a bartender from now on. I'm going to get into business. I just need
Well, I had
money.
to get a job.
Yes, you
So
gotta have
once I
income.
was a bartender, then people said you should do it again.
And you let that tells me you put your ego aside. You said, okay, I need this money, and you were willing. An entrepreneur friend of mine says, successful people do what unsuccessful people don't want to do. And what you did was you sucked it up and you became a bartender, even though you had gone through everything else, because you knew that step was going to get you to the next step.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you have to survive, basically.
I mean, you were almost homeless, you said. I mean, you were literally.
Well, if my friend said you have to pay rent, I would have been homeless.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think encouragement in today's environment with people that make excuses for not making it, your generation, our generation, we said we have to make it. There was no choice. you have to fend for yourself. You know,
Well, my
you
family,
can't have.
I didn't have a family that was going to back me up.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember making a phone call right before this happened, trying to borrow $50 from my sister, my brother, my mom, and they all said no.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, you know, it's probably the best thing they did, but that was just to put gas in my car. That was all it was for, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember asking our dad for $300 for rent, and he said no, and I never talked to him again.
Never gave
I was
a
like, I just
shit.
needed gas to get to the restaurant so I could wait tables.
When I sold half the yard house the first time, I gave them each 10 grand.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God, that's awesome. But also, okay, so it's funny, you know, the entrepreneurial spirit, becoming a way, you know, becoming what you've become today, and your personality. Because I love your personality. You're crazy, you're fun, but you're stable. You know how high you can go and how low you can go in a conversation. You're stimulated in your lifestyle, but you're also really sophisticated and energetic on what you want to do and what you want to become. And I think lately you said you wanted to minimize everything. So now you're successful. You sold Yard House. What did you do after that for Steele Platt? Was it immediately go spend a bunch of money, or was it what did you acquire a bunch of stuff? What did you do?
Well, you know,
How did you maintain your wealth?
the first time we sold it, you know, it was a big check, and
Right. That must have been exciting.
8 digits. Right?
Oh gosh, that's my dream.
For my piece, and then so that was half, and then I signed a 5-year contract with the new company that bought us.
Yeah.
And then when we sold, it was another 8-digit number.
Wow.
And then knowing before we sold the second time it was a lot of money, and so I just thought about, you know, stories I heard about how people make a lot of money and blow it. And
Yeah.
somebody just told me, just go out and buy real estate. You can't spend it.
Okay, that's what you did.
Yeah,
Okay.
and pay cash for everything.
Yeah.
So just go out. So I went out and bought 4 multi-million-dollar homes, and
Just you invested it wisely.
then I said in 10 years I'll probably sell it.
Yeah.
But during that process, when you really spend all your money on homes and you have to make enough money to take care of the homes,
Well, yeah, there's maintenance. There's definitely.
you're not really have room to blow money.
Well, that's what I told Andrew. I'm like, I need this passive income. I need to
Yeah.
like generate some
Well,
revenue
I had enough
here.
passive I did it all out. So passive income, cover the nut for all the homes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, the net gets high when you have
it was like
multi-million-dollar
$300
homes.
grand just to, and they're all paid
Keep
for
everything
cash.
from falling apart.
Well, you have to pay property tax,
taxes,
electrical,
property
all
tax.
this stuff.
Yeah.
But I got to use them all, and that's what I did. But I know right around the time when I sold them all, which I did the last year or two,
Yeah.
that I'd be more mature and understand what it's like to have a lot of money. So
You bought a place. If I can mention this, what was that island in Florida? The most
Fisher Island, yeah.
Fisher Island. I mean, you know you've made it when you have a yacht called, well, I'm not going to call the name of it, but it has the word beer in it, and you have a house on Fisher Island where you
Yeah.
have to take your boat to get to the island.
Yeah, it was a ferry to get there, but
Was it
they're
a
all
ferry?
condos. But it's the richest zip code in America.
Yeah. But you decided, I mean, now you've made it, and you're like, okay, I know.
I didn't like it. I was there 5 years. I didn't like it.
But also, you said lately, you told me there comes a point in your life where you're like, I want to relax a little. I want less overhead.
Mm-hmm.
I want to enjoy my freedom and not have to worry about all the
I
maintenance.
think it has to do with your age. So when you're young, you're more energetic. You
Yeah.
want to do more things. Knowing you're going to get older, you plan for that. So I said, at a certain point, I would sell them all and keep my one house here, which I did.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful house.
And then I got a raise by selling all the homes because my income shot way up because I
Yeah.
don't have to take care of the houses. And I made profit on all the houses because I held them all for about 6, 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
And then now it's just less moving parts, simplicity,
Yeah.
just kind of relax.
Now you can just go drink beer wherever you want. Do you ever go into yard houses? No.
Yeah.
You do?
I go once in a while.
Oh, okay. I would love to see if
But
I was.
when I walk in, it's weird. It's like I sold it yesterday.
Oh yeah.
It's really
It's your
weird.
baby.
And what
But
year,
it's the
what
same.
year did you sell?
It's the same thing. It hasn't changed.
What year did you sell? Like completely
Sold
get out
half
of
in
it.
07 and then the whole thing in 2012 for almost 600 million. Yeah.
Jeez. I want to grow up to be Steele Platt. I need to sell my vodka. Just go door to door. Just buy my vodka, buy my vodka.
Hit
buy-
bottom first, and then do it.
Daily Logic Check.
Who out of every state, since you've been in the industry forever, when they get tipped, are the most grateful for that tip? What areas?
I think it's not an area, it's just the people you hire. You know, every
Okay.
individual. There's
it's-
people that really enjoy providing good service, and there are other ones that just don't care.
Just don't.
And unless you're, you know, you have a really specific training process where so with Yard House, we would untrain everybody and say, forget everything you've ever learned in the industry. And now we're going to spend 2 weeks retraining you, re-educating you,
Okay.
and telling you, you know, how it is to be a good server or a good anybody.
You're lucky you're not in the industry today because it is
No,
so
it's hard,
difficult.
yeah, it's
I have a friend that
difficult.
runs a restaurant, and he has said, I can't even get people to show up.
You can't break through to them.
Not at all. They
That's the
don't want to
problem.
learn. They don't show up.
Yeah.
Like it's just like his job as a manager.
Well, I think COVID, you know, the COVID times created a lot of couch potatoes.
Okay,
That got
that's a whole
checks.
nother
That
problem.
got checks in the mail for
Would
doing
you,
nothing.
right now in this environment, start a restaurant in California?
I wouldn't start a big one. I would do a small one where I can handpick
Okay.
a small group of people and really train them. Really
Okay.
train them. Sit down with them
Yeah.
and share my experience, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You share them, not.
But that would be more for just for yourself, not to like increase the fortune, but that would be more for just you. Or do you think it
custom, but no, you know, if I was to open a new restaurant, it wouldn't be in California. Even though California has a large population, so it's a you know.
Just tell me Vegas. Everyone's moving to Vegas. Where are they moving? Everyone's moving out of
I
California.
want to move everywhere nobody else is moving.
Yeah, where everyone's going, I'll pick the
I
other
want to be
spot.
one step ahead of them.
Everyone's
That's what
already
you
in
gotta do.
Arizona. They're already in Texas. They're
No,
already.
you got to pick the city where they're going to go in 5 years.
Okay,
That's
good.
the
You let me
secret.
know where that's at.
Don't
yeah.
ever be the last guy in, because paying the highest price and it's already ruined. So.
Daily Logic Check.
What's your next big purchase? What do you think?
What do you think?
I don't know. Well, I have that
Porn
new
studio?
boat coming. Yeah.
Oh, so wait. Because, okay, so it's been a few years, but you got that pretty
I
beautiful
get a new
boat.
boat, a yacht every 2-3 years.
Okay, so this
But
is
I have a good deal worked out with where I keep it. I get
Andrew,
free
we're trying to get
slip,
his
all that stuff.
his yacht currently for like pennies on the dollar. Just tell him it's ugly. He doesn't want it anymore.
It's been a while, but that was a really nice boat, and I just remember you showing me all the nice.
Yeah, so I order a new one every 2-3 years, and that keeps me the slip and maintenance, and so it makes sense. And I keep
Yeah.
really good care of them, and I don't put a lot of hours on them.
How big's this? How big's the one you have now?
65, and the new one's 70. The same make, but this one will be 2 years old, and then I trade it in or sell it, and you know I go for the hard to get boats,
Obviously,
so it will sell fairly quickly.
he goes
So
for
you're
the
gonna
hard-
if you're gonna so you're just business savvy at all aspects of your life. You're always trying to make sure
Well,
that if you
you
buy
know,
yourself
they-
something, it makes you money, or you don't lose as much.
No, I mean, you know, I have enough money to do whatever
Yeah,
I
I
want.
tried to buy
but
his Ferrari, and he tried to oversell it sell it to me at like shocker value.
that means I don't want to sell it.
Exactly. He's like, if you're gonna make it worth it, I'll sell it. And I'm like, well, I want it for cheap.
Well, I don't want to sell it.
Exactly.
It's an easy answer. But no, I'm still frugal. You know, you just make good decisions. I think once you lose money, you know what it's like to have no money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You treat things different. Where if you came for money, you never knew the value of money, you would probably be wasteful with your money and your decisions. So.
What do you think about like running around Orange County? Boy, oh boy, do you have the demographic of wasteful money and trust fund kids? I mean, to me, it's the most.
Yeah, there's a spectrum of people in this town.
Yeah.
There's people with no money to think they have money,
Yes.
and there's people with a lot of money that you don't think have money. So
Correct. Then there's the medium people
The
that are
silver
like,
spoons, yeah, the silver spoons are out there. Those are fun to watch. You know,
they are entertaining.
just as long as their parents do well, they'll be fine.
Yeah. But you know, I often find that a lot of the silver spoons lose their money within the first. Once they get it, it's gone.
Well, the smart parents, if they know they have a silver spoon child, won't give them all the money up front. So
oh, they set it up in
you
the
put them on a
trust.
short,
and
yeah, you just give them an allowance so they can't blow it all.
we have
That's
a
so
friend
sad.
of ours, which you know, he gets so much.
Because they'll
a month-
blow it all.
Yeah,
'Cause
he
they don't have
gets so
value
much a
of it,
month,
yeah.
and then his credit cards will decline.
Yeah.
because
He's got to wait another week.
Yeah, he's got to wait another week. But I mean, I used to be really, because I always worked and frustrated because I'd have a bunch of friends in Orange County that none of them worked. The women all live with their parents. They didn't do anything. It's like, I didn't have a parent to live with. I didn't have anyone to give me any money.
I'm the same way, yeah.
And it's like, I divorced my ex-husband, but didn't get any cash from it. I mean, I got stock options, which I haven't even exercised. So there's the value of liquidity wasn't there, And so I look at these kids and I'm like, God, and I go, oh, I wish I had a silver. And then I look at their personalities. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't.
I have a 20-year-old, and he's kind of, my dad really didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Nor did his dad. They were military men, and their combined family wealth, and they died only 8 years apart, was like $200,000-300,000, and that's
wow.
His father's entire career of savings, and then my dad's.
You definitely created a legacy from that savings, so I'm sure he's very proud of you.
I lost
right
it
now.
all.
Yeah, but it gave you the tools to make what you have
But
now.
you took the risk. That's what an entrepreneur is.
Yeah.
Getting back to your original question, entrepreneurs take risk.
Right.
They can predict. You should be able to predict what's ahead of you. Like, I'm going to do this. I mean, I don't understand how you can take entrepreneurship at a college. It doesn't make sense to me.
No.
Right.
So I've spoken in a lot of entrepreneur classes, and I'm like, I tell them right away, nobody's going to teach you to be an
School of
entrepreneur.
Hard Knocks doesn't come in a classroom.
You can't come in here and when you're done with this class, you're going to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I'm here.
It's called a business class.
Yeah.
They're going to teach you accounting and this, but they can't get in your brain and say be creative, left, right.
Or make good decisions.
No, you're born that way. You're going to be born that way. You can be inspired by a class, but entrepreneurs are either born that way or they have a revelation moment where, a light bulb comes on.
So, I wasn't fortunate enough to be able to have anybody pay for college for me. So I wasn't able to go to a big fancy college where I could learn finance and learn all that. And I had the hardest time understanding that aspect of being an entrepreneur. So what advice would you give somebody who really, my parents tried really hard, my mom tried really hard, but I was working 3 jobs trying to go to school and I just couldn't afford it. I couldn't do it. So I just thought, well, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. My last job was a Wells Fargo banker, and I was homeless at the time, got a job at Wells Fargo, showered at the park, did the interview, and became a teller, and then a branch manager 7 months later. That was my drive, but then I didn't want to do that, but I had no one. I wanted to go to school because I wanted to learn numbers. I wasn't good at it. I could tell. I don't know how I managed to work at a bank. I knew I had the potential, but what advice would you give somebody? What type of classes would they go to school? What would go online? How would you learn finance?
If I had to sum up college, I went to 4 years college, business school. You're never going to leave college like thinking you learned all this stuff.
Right.
You learn the basics. You don't really go there thinking you're going to walk out of there being this wealth full of knowledge. It's really like college trains your brain of how to think.
Yeah.
And your classes are basic. So.
Well, so what classes would, if I couldn't afford college and I don't learn everything I want to learn from college, what would you suggest? Like I take online courses or finance courses? Would I learn QuickBooks? What would I do
I said, if you want to, you just need to learn the basics, so accounting, marketing, basics.
Right.
And then college gives you the ability to train your brain. So it's all about your brain.
Right.
It's about habits. College is
creating habits.
Do you study before your exam or do you study right up to your exam? Do you wake up late, early? It's all about habit forming in college as far as I'm concerned. Nobody's going to remember accounting 203, marketing. Because you leave after 4 years, you have all these classes. You think you really walk out of there remembering anything? You don't. No. You really don't. But
well,
what
aren't
you
you
do
drunk the whole
remember,
time in college anyway? Isn't that really?
what you do remember is what you absorb naturally. You learn the basics. You have your habits.
Yeah.
And then it's really up to you and your brain.
What's your son taking?
Business.
Yeah. Okay, so smart.
Yeah, he's doing well, but he's 20, but now he's a DJ. But he got that from I guess the nightclub genes I had. But he's when I was 20, I was just waiting tables. So he's DJing, making more money than I did waiting tables.
Really?
And he's getting good at it. So,
Okay.
but that's the road he's taking.
Yeah.
But down that road, a door's going to open, and he'll decide, okay, go here and there.
But he'll have that expertise and that knowledge of finance, which I
Yeah.
didn't have, and I should have. I wish I would have had that knowledge.
But he's
It
got
took me years.
it's what you absorb.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can go to class and not absorb anything.
Right.
And it doesn't mean you're going to be smart when you walk out of college. So,
Right.
But I was different. My dad said, "I'll pay for your college. That's it. At the end of your college, you're on your own,
Yeah.
basically. And I don't have anything to give you anyway." So I'm like, he doesn't have anything to give me, but hopefully my son doesn't get skewed with the trust fund and all that stuff. But I'll keep him on a short leash, and I'm purposely teaching him the value of money. That's what you got to do.
No, absolutely.
That he's going to have to run out of money a couple times during the month, right?
Well, he's going to get mad at you too, right?
Well, he has a credit card, so I can see when he spends too much. Because when he gets his allowance, that's all gone.
That is awesome.
He's
Instantly
got to pay
all
for
gone.
that bill right away.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But I'm there to keep him. It's a learning process, and you can't blame somebody for learning. Right?
What a lot of wealthy individuals say now, like Elon Musk or something, a lot of gentlemen in your position with children and women are only allowing their kids to inherit so much to invest so that they don't think they're just going to never have to work again. And just because I know a lot of people that are sitting around waiting for their parents to die to live off that money.
Thinking they're going to get the money. Yeah.
Thinking they're going to get the money, but really the parents have set them up only getting so much. But telling them that in advance, you're only going to get this much money. I'm not giving you any more. You're going to invest it, and if you do well, you get. So there's plans that you can set up like that, right?
Oh, of course. So
Yeah.
like my son really doesn't get his whole trust until he's 43.
Okay. Why
And
43?
then you can do anything you want. I can say you got to walk a lady across the street twice a day to do this. If you get a parking ticket, you lose that.
Oh,
I have
okay.
like 20 different things he's got to do.
Okay.
It's actually creative and fun.
It's great.
Well, one thing
It's
that
like a roadmap to getting my allowance.
If you want money, these are the hoops.
But to give somebody inheritance, you can create anything you want.
Okay, I
And
didn't.
you have
I
an
didn't realize
executor that follows your rules and gives your son the money that you want him to
Yeah.
give you based on what? Do you have a picture of you walking a lady across the street? Because we need it. See what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely.
So here's one thing.
So you can get them to work. You don't get automatic. You got to
Yeah.
do stuff.
But here's another thing I noticed about Andrew and you. You've never been married, have you? And Andrew, you're not married.
No.
I'm on my third husband. No, just kidding. I've only been married twice.
Well,
so,
the bar business, you can't get married.
Right.
If you're going to be a success, there'd be one yard house if I got married. So.
Really? Oh, because you're working way too much.
Well, you work way too much. I work 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
Nobody expects to sacrifice their life for that, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, because it's because at the time it's not a guarantee it's going to succeed.
gotten
You could have
close.
lost everything again.
3 engagements.
It's close enough, right?
Or on the way.
I'm done. That's good.
Wait, you have 2 kids, and you have three engagements?
Well, 3 times, yeah. So,
Okay.
but 3 engagements is irrelative of kids.
Right. No, I just mean like I have 4 engagements. I think. How many rings do I have in there?
I have
No,
zero.
I think it was 3 times. Yeah, 3 times I asked somebody to marry me, and then
Didn't work out.
they all kind of fired themselves.
They fired themselves. Well, you're
Well,
kind
that's
of.
what engagement's for, right? You
Yeah.
feel it out, and
Yeah.
anything goes wrong, then it's done.
It's like you got the interview, so you got the job, but now you got your 2
Well,
week,
now you're saying,
2 week
okay,
whatever it's called when you look you keep an eye on them to see if they're going to work out.
But there's people that should be married. There's people that shouldn't. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with being alone.
Well, and I think that today I don't see any reason to get married. Like right now, I have.
The only reason I would have ever gotten married was to have a child. I got my daughter without getting married.
I had a kid without getting married. Yeah.
Yeah, now that I'm happy. I don't see a reason.
That
There's not a
seems to be
benefit.
the trend. Is just like why get married, have these babies, and you're fine. Which I mean, I'm okay with. I'm
Yeah.
okay with just saying why the marriage certificate that allows the other
Well, you know what
person
the
to
leading cause of divorce is, right?
marriage.
Marriage.
There you go.
Why is divorce expensive?
Well, no, I mean,
'Cause it's worth it.
I understand the family unit, but to be an entrepreneur, you really have to put 200% of yourself into that project.
I think it depends who you are, what you do,
Yeah.
what your future is, where you are in life. There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Both sides of the fence. So,
Yeah, yeah. I know you got dinner reservations at your fancy restaurant, so
Not fancy.
no, but thank you for giving us the
Sure.
inside scoop on where you came from because you're fascinating to me. You've always been fascinating. You still you're still chill. I mean, to be where you came, to be who you are from where you came from, and to be as chill and cool as you are is amazing.
That's a crazy ride. I look back and go, I don't know how I did it.
Yeah, but you did it.
Yeah, but you don't know how you did it. You just did it at the moment you did it.
And that's why
That's survival mode. Yeah.
Your advice to young entrepreneurs would be what? Just do it, right? Just start.
Seize the opportunity, look for
Yeah.
doors to open, and then, you got to hit your reset button every day. You have to wake up and start over.
Yeah.
And
And
convince
the
somebody
minute
to give
you
you
think
millions of
you're
dollars.
successful is the day you fail. That's what I said.
Well, that's great advice, Andrew. I need to take that advice. Oh, and also be more frugal. Okay, I need to be more frugal.
Yes. try to get her to not spend money.
Nothing
Don't
wrong with
get married. Be more. What did we learn today? Be more frugal.
Believe in yourself.
Well, it's smart frugal.
Bounce. Or wait, bounce
Hit
back
bottom
up. Hit
to
bottom.
start over.
Hit your bottom.
Well, not hit your bottom. No, you got to hit
rock
What are we
bottom.
talking about?
If you're going to start over, you really got to hit bottom to understand what the bottom is.
Yeah.
Because it's going to motivate you to.
Yeah, and it's okay to hit rock bottom, right? I mean, it's
A lot
okay.
of people do.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't bounce.
And that's when you should bounce, right? I mean,
That's when you have to bounce.
yeah.
Because if you
If
don't
not-
bounce, then you're going to stay at the bottom.
And so,
it's-
like
then
right
it's
now, a lot
over.
of people after COVID are like they lost their restaurants, they lost their lives,
Yeah.
and so right now is the time where they just need to bounce. And your advice to them
Well,
would
the
be just
bounce,
get
but
back up.
it's after the bounce, you have to really look. You have to seize opportunity. You have to
Yeah.
like I did. I just
Stay
bartended.
focused.
I bartended. I'm just going to get a job.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you should do.
Yep.
Just get a job,
Just get a job.
and then go from there.
Yeah, and do it well.
Work your way up. No, just I have a job. I have income.
Okay.
And
Don't
be
do
good
it well.
at it. And be good at it. But he's going to be good at it no matter what. That's why. What is it?
Yeah.
So, yes.
Well, we have some great entrepreneurs coming on. You are one of my favorite people in the whole wide world.
So I get to come back like once a week or something.
Yeah, we're gonna have Entrepreneurial 101 starting next week with Steele Platt. We have Finance 101 with Alan Shriver.
Next
we
week, I
have
think 3
Housewives-
shots first.
Housewives 101 with Emily, and then we have John Paul DeJoria for Billionaire 101.
Yeah, that's what I, yeah.
How to
We're going
really
to take notes on
invest your
that one.
wealth.
That's fun.
No. Thank you for coming on. You're awesome. I
Cheers.
love you. See you soon, Andrew. Any other advice for any entrepreneurs?
I'm not an entrepreneur, so I have no advice.
Exactly. What does your shirt say? Here's a really old picture of me. So, Steele.
I
Sorry.
didn't know that's you, by the way.
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
do. I took a
That
picture.
looks like everybody.
Andrew has this funny personality, and I love how Andrew lives his life. And on our show, I decided to give everybody a secret gift before you leave.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to donate $1,000 to a charity of your choice.
Thank you.
Do you have one off the top of your head?
No.
Okay.
But I'll think of it.
Okay.
It'll be a local one in Newport.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask you to pick one before I got you on here. So.
No, there's a lot of them. I just can't think of which one to pick right now. Probably AA.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I'll be
I created
donating
a
to
lot
your
of AA
local,
people,
whichever
I think.
meeting you would like me to donate to for coffee and donuts.
One way to give back.
Oh yeah, Vargas Vodka donates AA, donates $1,000 for donuts. No, but I have a gift for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll go get it.
I can't.
I will get it.
Andrew's gonna go get your gift.
Are we still filming?
Yeah. I have a secret little gift for you.
Oh, okay.
I thought, just to thank you for being a part of my first podcast, I put this together. I called Andrew a couple weeks ago, and I love the logic behind people's personality and understanding why they think the way they think. And like, Alan Schreiber and Emily and everybody, you are a fascinating person. So here's a little gift from me to you.
Thank you.
And I also put a little extra tiny little shirt for, anybody else you want to give it to.
All right, thanks. Do you want me to take it out now?
Yeah, with the logo showing.
Vargas hat, which I love. Do you have a black one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
have a
black
black
better.
one. And little shirts, but there's something else in there.
That's great.
Okay. There's
So my son in
still-
college.
there's
still something
I
else.
know.
Okay.
My son in college, it's like everybody wants to wear this stuff.
I'll give you a bunch then.
No, seriously.
Wait, can you turn the bag
Really?
around? Can you turn the bag around? Just to get the logo. There we go. No, the other way.
way?
No, just
That
no,
one?
no.
Sorry.
Fuck you, Steele. Turn it around, show
That
'em.
one? Wait. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're such a
There you go.
Wookie, America. That's awesome.
Tiffany?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Very
I
nice.
see. I wouldn't even know that.
Well, of course, we're in Orange
Tiffany
County.
blue.
This is amazing. So
you.
just a little something to say thank you for just being awesome.
Oh, a little
Because you
money
manage
clip.
your money properly.
Taco.
Taco Tuesday, it's Tiffany.
This is taco.
It's Tiffany. It's really from Tiffany.
What else but taco and a money clip?
You know, I just thought a little Tiffany
Sure, that's
gift.
very nice.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
you don't have to use it. You don't. You know, you can't.
No, I love money clips.
Yeah, it's a very simple little gift because a lot of my, everybody that, you manage your money properly, you save your dimes and you could have some dollars to go in there, Steele.
Someday.
Someday you might have enough money to fill that
I
part.
got to start spending it.
Yeah, isn't that fun though? That
Yeah.
your job is now. To
I don't think I
spend
will
it.
either.
It just you've already got if
I'll just
your
leave it
life is
for my
already
son.
good and you're happy.
Yeah, I think that's what you seem like the guy that's going to keep your money for your
Well,
son.
no, it's just like, okay, what do I need?
Yeah.
Sometimes you work
I'm
so
learning
hard
from
to
you.
get everything you want. Now I got everything I wanted. So.
Yeah. Why stress yourself out with wanting more and trying? For me, I'm like, I got to prove myself, but really.
I just want simple, less moving parts right now. So that's why I
Yeah.
got rid of the houses.
Oh, that's why you're sleeping on my couch. Perfect. Okay, so we'll
What?
sell your.
What happened?
I got a couch for when you want to sell your house. Don't worry. I got an extra spare room on the top. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You're
Hey, it was
awesome.
fun being here. Good luck.
Thank
It's going to
you.
be a great show.
Woohoo! Daily Logic Check.
All right.
Daily Logic Check.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Daily Logic Check. I'm your host, Elizabeth Vargas, with my co-host, Andrew Vargas. If you like what you saw, you like what you see, click below, like, follow, and support us on Patreon. Peace, love, and happiness.
Daily Logic Check.